Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Got episode number 17 of Marvel Yap here. Today, Dance and I are going to be going over this previous season, as well as talking about February's Datamines season, and talking about the brand new season happening today, the Marvel Rivals collaboration. But let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, we are joined with the hostest with the mostest, notmydance. How are we doing today, Dance?
We're doing good. We're doing good. It's been a fun day so far. I'm excited. What is it? I'll say the dev video, what I'm thinking about, and I'm glad it came out, and there wasn't a lot of like substance.
Yeah. But
I don't think they typically have a lot of substance inside of them these days. I feel like, but it was still a fun video. Still a great time to see a little bit of inner frustration maybe toward Ben Brode. Felt nice to see him get hit in the face with a dodgeball. But in general. No, I'm sorry. I'm joking. I love you, Ben. In general, it's been a good day. I'm very excited about the next season of Marvel Snap. But how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I think, honestly, like you said, like the video, I'm glad we got to watch it before recording so we can talk about it a little bit more. Because, you know, our topics of the day are going to be, you know, this season in review. The February cards did get Datamines. We're going to talk about those a little bit, and we're also going to be talking about the December preview based off of what we just saw in the video, as well as some of our own personal takes on the cards as well. But I think, honestly, like, I'm not really upset with the Snap meta right now. I feel like it's kind of just dragging by still, but I'm not necessarily like, man, I have to play more Snap, probably because I'm done with the diner.
Yeah. I think the fact that I've gotten through the majority of the diner that I needed to, that it doesn't feel like, I feel like that was really dragging the game. Yes. And hopefully they're gonna hopefully tweak that in the future. But in general, I feel like I've been happy with the meta. Like, honestly, I've been playing high Evo. A little bit excited about future cards for coming up in the next season. Talk about those later. But in general, I think it's just been it's been very open. I feel like you can play a lot of stuff and at least do decently. So I've personally been enjoying it. How has your cat been enjoying it?
The kitties have been really enjoying it because, you know, we've still been streaming a lot. So, like, the kitties are spending a lot of time with me during the streams and stuff. But, like, I really do think, like, as much as I still don't like Airstream, of course. I think that's just a hill I'm willing to just die on. And I just don't like playing as Airstream. But I feel like I'm playing a lot of decks right now that can still put out output to be able to offset what Airstream does without having to run the necessary Airstream counters. And then we had Gore come out this past week. We had Gore come out. And I feel like a lot of people are playing this card a little incorrectly, I would say. Would you agree?
I think Gore, just talking about him, he's definitely a fun card. I think he's a good card. I think he's gonna be fine. I don't know. In general, feels like I think this is a card that's going to get better as time goes on once people learn how to actually play him and they stop playing him in Mr. Negative.
Yes.
It's just not doing well in Mr. Negative. The other decks that he's being run in are absolutely killing it, and it's been very enjoyable so far, I think, just with him. He's just felt like a good card. He feels like I wonder if he's too good of a good card. I feel like he's just kind of going to be where, like, for a while, Silver Table was just like a default 1-drop you could throw in any deck. They knocked their power down a little bit. And I feel like we're kind of getting into a similar place with Gore, where he's just like, yeah, he's just a good card to put inside of your deck for like a big drop at the end of the game. So, and you're getting rewarded for playing the game the way you want to. You're playing with on reveal cards, so it doesn't feel like anything is really going crazy there. I don't hate it still. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's been a good card.
Yeah, I think this card definitely has a lot of upside. But I think when you look at the stats for this card, the stats are lower than what it should be because, like you said, a lot of people are playing Mr. Negative, and that really is a huge combo-heavy hit-or-miss kind of deck. And if you don't have the Mr. Negative, it's going to be a game you just retreat. So, like, his win-loss is not in a good spot right now, but his cube rate is still positive because Mr. Negative still, you know, steals cubes, but your win rate's just not there for consistency.
Yeah, no, it's a really fun card. And I'm personally enjoying it. But yeah, this was the card that I had ranked the highest. In my tier list, and I don't know if I still would keep it at the highest, honestly. Looking back at this season, but it's definitely felt good. It's definitely up there. It's like still feeling really good. I don't know how if you're looking back at this season, because we've had 6 cards added to the game. Where do you rank the 6 cards? Like, how do those go for yourself?
In my opinion, I think So like I had whatchamacallit, I had Malekith as my top card this season. I think he's a good card, but I don't think he's the top card. I think if I were to re-rank the cards, it would go Surtur, Malekith, Gore, and then I would go Fenris, Frigga, King Eitri.
Interesting. Okay. That's fair. I feel like at the end of it, I feel like Malekith has taken actually my number one personally.
Okay.
I feel like Malekith's been my favorite so far. It just feels good. I like the playability of it. It feels, I don't know, it really feels great. And I think Gore is immediately following.
Okay.
I actually think if I'm going to the next one, I actually think I'm going King Eitri. I really have been enjoying King Eitri a lot more than I expected.
Okay.
Like I said, I've been playing Thanos, and it feels insane in that deck, just as a consistent, this is a stone you draw. And that's been feeling good there. I think at that point, I then go, it's wild that Surtur to me is so low, but I guess I kind of had him lower at the beginning. I think it's Frigga, Surtur, Fenris.
Okay.
And it's very different to what I originally said, because I had said Gore as my number one previously, and Malekith is my number two. They've now swapped positions. Fenris I was a lot higher on, and I don't really think he's that crazy anymore. Yes, I think this was a card that when we looked at it, we were like, this is Shang-Chi, the potential's crazy for it. And it kind of just hasn't. It just, what is it? Looking at your buy or bust, right? You've got this, you talk about the ceiling, you talk about the floor, and the ceiling is a lot harder to reach oftentimes than I feel like you would believe. It's still good, but I don't think it's not one of my personal favorites, honestly. It's just kind of like, I think you have to build a lot more with it, and then maybe I think Moon Knight's still the best card with it as well.
I was going to say that. You do Moon Knight value instead of Shang-Chi value with this card. Shang-Chi is just kind of way more predictable when you have the Fenris stuff, whereas the Moon Knight, you're not getting maybe the huge hit you may have wanted to your opponent's, cards on the board, but offsetting a combo for later in the game gives you just that immense Fenris value anyways. And I think like the most popular deck right now with this list is Goon Knight, which is, the Black Bolt stature kind of shenanigans. But it's good.
That whole fun thing. Yeah, in general, like, I don't really have any problems with any of these card seasons, because again, even when you're talking about your lowest there, I don't think the lowest card you have is bad. Like, I don't think any of these cards are truly bad at this point. And I know, what is it? We have a little bit of a bet going on, right? Where potentially seeing if Gore's going to break the meta or not. Yeah. I won't be surprised if he gets hit. Yeah. But I don't think he's good. I think he's good. I just don't think he's OP.
Do you think, like, I don't think this is like the proper argument, but like, is Gore to the point where they would want to do, like, they tweak Silver Sable? Is it to that point where they would maybe make him a -2 instead of a -3? Or is it because there's so much negative going around, like negative, like deck and offsetting his stats, they may wait a couple months to see any adjustments?
I think that's what we're going to see. I think it could either be mid-rival season or just in general, like a month or two, because I feel like the card is good. And I just feel like in general, people are playing it wrong. It's going to be a while before they actually like really do crazy stuff with the card. Yeah. So again, I like the card. I think it's fine. I won't be surprised if it needs to go down a little bit, but it just feels like a good card currently. Yeah, I don't think I've got any issue with it. And you still have to have all the other on reveals on the board. It's not like with Blob, which was the comparison I was making, is like you still are putting a bunch of cards into your deck, and Blob, has this potential ceiling, whereas Gore, your opponent still has to play cards in order for you to get the bigger value from Gore. Yeah, no, and I think that's really cool. I don't know. It's... Yeah, I really like him. I think he was, at one point, he was data mined at a 6 -3. Yes. I think that's probably where he would go back to, if anything, because again, one of the things it does is if they don't make him a -2, a -4, it means that if you have 6 or whatever in play, 6 other on reveals in play, then he isn't going to be immediately Shang-Chi-able. It makes it a little bit harder. It keeps him out of that range, and I think that's why he's the -1. So I think if he goes down to like a -3 or something like that, probably be fine. -2, honestly, could just do something similar, just knocks him down a singular point of power. It's just, I think it's just a good card. It's just performing probably slightly better than they'd like, and I just don't think it'll be a bit, I think it'll be a bit before we see this card get changed truly once everyone figures it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it's really interesting because it's ongoing. It also still works with Ravonna, even after there's on reveals on the board, which is really interesting to note. But let's look at actually how they kind of line up statistically. We've talked about our thoughts on them, but of course, we don't have all the stats on the top of our head. Maybe we do. Dance does most of the time. But here's actually how they've been performing holistically. This is since the last patch on the 14th. So, of course, some of these cards are going to have way more gameplay than other cards. Like Surtur, has been out since the very first week of the season. Frigga's also been out since the first week of the season. And then it was Malekith, Fenris, King Eitri, and Gore. But a lot of people have been doing just weekend missions and stuff. This is based off of tier. If we go based off of popularity, Surtur's still number 1. I mean, weekend missions.
Yeah.
Everyone bought the season pass,
It's just the consistently best value in the game.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm happy with this stuff. And even though I know King Eitri is very low in his current stats, I think it's partially because, again, I think the Thor decks are just still not good.
Yes.
And I think that's people were really you wanted to try to go for. And I think until those cards, that package becomes better, or maybe they're to get another piece that really works with it, I just don't think King Eitri is going to be a great card for that bit, but I do like him in general in the other stuff that I was discussing. And then the move bounce with Frigga. Have you played that?
I have not, but I've been beaten by it quite a bit.
Yeah. It's a fun one. I think that's a really good list. I've seen games and I've had games happen where I'm playing against it. And I've used Fenris. I will Shang-Chi or early on or like a Gambit, destroy the big card quickly. Then I activate Fenris, bring it back, and then Frigga will take the card from my side of the board because it's still technically in play. Because again, that's how it works. It resurrects the same card, it brings it back, and it will copy from my side of the board, and then they will get another copy of that card in the hand. Because that's technically how it works. It's the same card.
So you're saying you activate Fenris, that card gets revived, and then you Frigga the activated card?
Well, no. So the opponent is Frigga-ing the activated card, or the opponent is Frigga-ing the card I brought back with Fenris.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's a really weird interaction, but I've seen it a few times already, and it's a funny one to see.
It's like the blink interaction. If you throw a goblin to your opponent's side of the board, you can blink it out and get a... Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting, but that is, I guess, within just the coding in the game.
It's because, again, it's the same card. They just bring it back, but I don't know. In general, how have you felt about this season?
Honestly, I wasn't too high on the season, I would say earlier, but now, honestly, like, I feel like it was a pretty good season. Like holistically, I was like, I had a lot of fun. I've placed the highest I've ever placed on ladder, and then I just stopped playing ladder because I had to do all the diner stuff. But I've been playing the list I played at the very beginning of the season, the entire season, and it still just brings me so much joy playing Surtur Slam. It just feels good. So I've enjoyed sticking to some of the same decks and then not being punished for still playing older decks from the season, even as the meta progresses, which is cool.
Yeah, that's been really nice as well for myself, just to be able to feel like I have the options no matter what the actual season is looking like, whatever the meta is. Again, I'm feeling like I get the ability to play whatever deck I kind of want to, and I don't feel like I'm being punished for it.
Yes.
Unless the deck sucks completely, it's just a fun time, and I'm being able to try out a bunch of different styles of decks, and I'm really enjoying that. Yeah,
no, I think this season overall came to a really good point. But we also, just like I said, got info for a brand new season in February, which is going to be based off of the new Captain America. I believe it is it New War, or what's the Captain America movie
Brave
called?
New World, I want to say
Brave
is correct
New
for the
World.
name.
Okay.
Brave New World, I believe, yes.
And we got some Datamines for that season. Kudos to Snap.fan. Shout out to Snap.fan for this over here.
This is going to be a very interesting season. No, what is it? You've got it in front of you. Go ahead and tell us the first one here.
All right, so we have Sam Wilson, which we already had, Sam Wilson in the game because he's Falcon. But this is different, kind of basing it more off of the MCU or just the alias of the secret identity kind of thing, kind of like how we have Bruce Banner turning into the Hulk. This is at the start of the game, add Cap's shield to a random location, and then ongoing, You can move to Cap's shield.
You can move Cap's shield, not move to.
No, you can move Cap's shield. Sorry. So you can move Cap's shield one time indefinitely. I don't know, like.
And yeah, I think it's indefinitely, and that's because of Cap's shield ability, which is really weirdly worded. Obviously can't be destroyed. It's vibranium, but then it adds some amount of power. We don't have the exact number yet. Adds some amount of power to your captain when this moves to the captain's location. Kind of going similar to what we had before with the Doom/Doom bots. And this is the first card I know that I really want to talk about here when we look at the data mines, which, by the way, update the bottom thing. But when we look at the data mines, I feel like they're trying to push more of the cards and characters that we really know. Because as of now, if you look at Captain America, you can't play him in just a normal deck. But both Cap's Shield and Sam Wilson are ongoing. And so is Captain America. And so I'm wondering if this is going to be like another. Maybe they're trying to make Captain America a card that can really stand inside of the game, and it can be a top deck that actually works. A Captain America deck similar to the way they have a Doctor Doom deck. Kind of with Doom 2099, as we'll talk about in a bit, because of the fact that when you really get into Marvel Snap, like the top decks are, okay, I can't wait to play this Lady Sif, Malekith, I don't know, Meek?
Yeah.
Like, coming in for a new player, you're like, what? Who are these characters? But trying to make it so it's more focused on maybe characters that we actually know and love.
Yeah.
With this, I actually think is really cool, and I hope that they keep doing this more and more.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of them bringing back some of these like original characters and giving them newer abilities opposed to what they started out with in the game. Kind of like what you said with also Bruce Banner, like I was talking about. He can turn into the Hulk, which we'll be dissecting a little bit more later. But like these are more staple characters. It's like I want people to play this game because they get to play as their favorite Marvel character. It's not just some random Joe to someone who doesn't know Marvel Comics that's in the game, and it's like, okay, now I get to play as Captain America. I think we talk about this all the time. I get to play as Captain America. I get to play as with Iron Man, which is what Rivals is going to be doing incredibly well. But that's also besides the point. But yeah, this is going to be very interesting. I don't know. We don't know what power Captain America is going to get, or if this counts with Sam Wilson and also Captain America, which it probably does, like you said, with the comparison from Doom to Doom 2099. So this is a really good starting point. And then we get Batroc. Is that how you say his name? Batroc? Batroc. Okay. Batroc the Leaper. Whenever a card moves, this moves with it and gets +1 power once per turn. Plus X power, not one. Plus X power. Once per turn.
Yeah. And so, we don't have any of the actual numbers on any of these cards available. So this is all, again, we're talking about all this stuff, and it's all hypothetical. We'll maybe learn some stuff by the patch next week, maybe about these cards. But in general, Batroc looks really interesting. I'm kind of excited about this card. What do you feel about Batroc before I really...
Does Silk finally get played again?
I'm kind of wondering, This might also do some good stuff for Hercules, I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, could do Hercules,
you can move
board
a card
space and stuff.
Yeah, because you move a card into Hercules' lane. Hercules moves the other card, the card you move, and then Batroc probably goes to the Hercules lane after that, I would have to guess, because the card moved twice. I don't know. It's kind of weird in that whole way, but again, that's also both sides of the board, right? So that's just whenever a card moves, not your card. At least again, all the stuff, let's make it very clear, is data mined. It's so far data mined that we don't even have stats on these cards yet. So we're just talking. There's so many hypotheticals, so much stuff could change. So keep that in mind as we're talking about this whole thing. But in general, I think this card should hopefully be pretty fun.
It'd be another buff to that Scream package, too. Scream's getting the plus power, Batroc's getting the plus power, Kingpin's negating power, Scream's negating power. So, like, there's so many different ways you can mess around with this to get other value, even, like, with Magneto, getting value with Polaris and stuff, Cannonball things. Like, I don't know. This is going to be really interesting just to see what happens. I'm actually more pumped the more I actually read through what's going on here.
No, I think it's definitely going to be pretty sick.
And then we got Cobra.
Yeah, just, you can only play this where your opponent has one card. I'll say that again clearer because I think I said that really quickly. You can only play this, Cobra, where your opponent has one card. So, that's really narrow. And they talk about maybe like a 4 to 5 cost card with 10 power. This just makes sense, like a 4/10. I feel like some sort of similar ability. I feel like it just makes sense there, similar to what we have for Diamondback, or sorry, not Diamondback. That's the next card. Similar to what we have for Cold Obsidian, similar to what we have for Crossbones. It kind of just makes sense there. I could also see it being cheaper, like a 1 cost, like even 5 power. Honestly, I don't know. There's just a lot of versatility in this card. Yeah, true. No, that's actually would be really cool.
Because they only have the rock there potentially, or this not the rock, the ice cube. But
that could give you some debris stuff as well. So, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff. Even Titania could have some fun combos with this. I have no idea what the stats are on this guy, and I think that's really going to change how I feel about this card.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of different ways you can mess around because we don't, like you said, we don't know the power, we don't know the cost, but it'll be interesting to see what they do here. Cool characters they're adding. Diamondback, another snake, which is opponents.
Serpent Society, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Serpent Society. Opponents' cards at this location that lose power.
Oh, God.
My cats.
Tucker has died, everyone. I'm so sorry. Tucker is deceased. He's fixing stuff. We have some momentary fixing.
The cat just freaking knocked everything over. That's so funny.
If you're just listening, yeah, Tucker's camera just got camera just got absolutely whacked and axed by his kittens, who are very upset that they're not being featured further in this yap.
Yep. As they get sprayed. Yeah, Jesus. But Diamondback's ability is opponents' cards at this location that lose power lose an additional X power. This is interesting.
This card, I think, is going to be... So it's that lose power. I feel like not have lost power. It's just going to be lose power. So it's going to be a futuring thing. And I feel like this is a 2 or 3 cost card, if I'm guessing. But also, like, imagine this at, like, Sewer System, or what's the location that has, like, a -3? Something like that. It's just Negative Zone?
Negative Zone, I think.
Yeah. But, like, just stuff that you love those locations even more so now. This just goes further and further into the bit that I feel like Luke Cage needs a nerf. We'll talk about that maybe later. But, like, the Affliction cards are so good.
Yeah.
And I think it's just such an easy card to, like, fix everything. Diamondback seems cool as hell. I love it. I think Luke Cage might be a problem in the future.
Yeah, and I think we felt that way when, High Evo came out and they had to change it from a 2 cost to a 3 cost. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, this is cool. Even potential just hazmat value for like single main hazmat stuff, or even.
Oh my gosh, U.S. Agent. I was gonna say.
Yep. US Agent. It doesn't
double. It doesn't double it. It's just an additional X amount of power, or whatever.
But that could like stack, which is really crazy. Yeah. And then wild. We have Joaquin Torres or Joaquin. Okay. Joaquin, not Joaquin.
Joaquin Torres.
Joaquin Torres, which I think is one of the main.
So he's the oh my, your cats are extremely upset. I'll say while Tucker deals with that, Joaquin Torres, I believe, is the one who takes the mantle of Falcon up after Sam Wilson takes up Captain America's mantle. We already seen him inside of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he is due, I believe he's casted inside of the Falcon, the Captain America Brave New World as well. So his ongoing ability is the on-reveal abilities of your X cost cards. So again, I'm a specific costs. Maybe it's multiple, maybe it's 1 or 2, whatever. Only those cards will trigger twice. So similar to Wong, but only certain cost cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is gonna be interesting. What do you think? How do you feel about Joaquin?
I think Joaquin's gonna be, like you said, like I think the ongoing on reveal cards at this location trigger twice. It's like a mini Wong for some of your earlier. Played cards, which like we were talking about Silver Sable, like it gives you some value there with Silver Sable, some Nico stuff, potentially even Iron Fist kind of move shenanigans. It's going to be really interesting. I think this is another card you kind of build, either you have a deck you kind of maybe build around a little bit, but I think it's going to kind of establish a new kind of way to play some of these earlier drops. I can see some Black Swan value. You could also have this in a Thanos deck to have your stones go off multiple times as well. Potentially, if it's 1 cost, I'm assuming it's probably 1 cost cards, but it's going to be cool.
Yeah, actually, can we go all the way back to Sam Wilson? Because I realized something. Because I was thinking this is on with Sam Wilson, him adding the shield. Maybe there's a combo there, but it's actually the start of the game. So your opponent knows immediately that you're playing, that you have Sam Wilson in your deck as soon as as soon as the game has started.
Yeah.
So I wanted to point that out because I just noticed that and I felt like that was a notable thing. Again, Datamines, subject, whatever. Sam Wilson is more and more interesting the more I'm reading this card.
Yes.
I'm stoked about this in general. This is gonna be a really fun one to see. No way you could. It's your own Cap's Shield, right? If someone super scrolls Sam Wilson, they can't move your Cap's Shield. That'd be dumb. There's no way that happens, right?
No, I don't think so. But that'd be funny to test, though. That'd be really funny to test.
I doubt it entirely, but I kind of really want to see that. But yeah, we can go all the way down. Sorry, I noticed that. I wanted to point it out there. Red Wing. This is, so again, in the comics, it tells you in Snap.fan as well. Red Wing is Sam Wilson's pet actual Falcon. We saw it debuted in the MCU as a little like robotic drone. So we might be seeing both versions as like variants or whatever. But it has an on-reveal ability of return one of your, again, whatever cost cards to your hand. And then you also give that card X amount of power. So we don't know the cost of the cards that it brings back to your hand, nor how much power those cards are added, or how much power is added to that card. But I love this as a different style of bounce card.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. It's a targeted bounce too, because if it works the same way like Falcon would, it returns in order of played. So you can target to see what card would bounce back to your hand and get the extra power. Unless it is more like Magneto, and then it's like completely random of said cost getting returned to your hand. So it'll be really interesting to see how that works. But I think, yeah, it's a really cool functionality-wise to getting the extra power and allowing you to bounce in a different way. Because now there'd be, what, 3 different ways to bounce? Or no, 4 different ways?
4. Falcon,
Toxin, Beast, and then Red Wing?
Yep.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, Red Wing is, I like it. These just seem like really fun cards. Oh god, I wish that we had these numbers, the exact bits of data to mess with these as well to know, because again, just the ability, without knowing the exact numbers, this again seems super interesting. Like I'm looking through all these cards. One of the reasons I think we're talking about this today, none of them seem bad.
Yeah.
None of them seem something like just something you want to pass up and just completely ignore. All of them seem like they're doing something different and adding a different aspect to Snap that I don't think any other card is really doing.
Yes, for sure.
And I think we only have one more. Yeah, Thaddeus Ross. This is gonna be a fun card. Do you want to tell everyone what this one is?
So Thaddeus Ross, if you guys did not know, is Red Hulk's, human form. Which is whenever your opponent ends their turn with unspent energy, draw a card with X or more power. This is crazy.
This is going to be, what is it? One of the things they mentioned in here is that it makes sense for it to be like drawing a 10 plus power card. I'd agree with that based off of kind of like the lore we've seen or whatever.
Yes.
But this looks like such a fun card. And like how is this like a 3-0? I don't know. This has to have really bad stats considering how scared they've said they are of drawing cards in the past. This is the reason I said the good stuff about all the other cards. This is the only card I'm looking at that I'm like, this feels like a very good, like potentially a too powerful of a card.
Yeah, I think 3-0. Call me crazy. Maybe 4-0 if it's like the +10, and like, it's like maybe what if does this bring some crazy ramp back to the game to like offset what your opponent's trying to do? Like this is really good in Aeroshim as well, because like if you can play Wave out on 3 and your opponent doesn't have anything, or play Wave out on 2, you can play this out on on 3, and if your opponent can't play stuff out, you just get that Thaddeus value as well as all of the draws.
Imagine this with Luna Snow as well. Just in any way that you can try to like give your opponent extra energy that they may not be ready for. Yeah, this out of every single card that we have data mined, this is the one I am most scared of. Yeah, rightfully so. I think, again, we'll have to see whatever these actual cards look like, however this stuff is going to be. But no, these all look so cool. Again, fear about Thaddeus Ross. But I'm loving it. This just based off this list.
Yeah.
Which card here are you most excited for?
Honestly, I really want to see how Diamondback does. I feel like there'd be a really fun way to just add that level of like affliction, especially with some of these cards coming out also in December, kind of see how they can kind of synergize and stuff too. Very excited to see there. I mean, Thaddeus Ross is very interesting to see how they build around, but yeah, I'd go Diamondback. What about you?
I think it's Sam Wilson. I think the card that looks like Sam Wilson's gonna be the season pass card. I think he is the one that I'm most excited about. Just again, due to the fact that, and we'll see. And again, we keep talking about December cards, kind of, and we're about to actually fully break down them. But the fact that it looks like it's probably going to give a buff to the actual, like Captain America, and maybe make that card hopefully come back in some way.
Yeah.
Again, the cool cards that we all recognize. I love that idea, and also it just in general, it looks really cool, and I cannot wait to mess with it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time. But this is February. We do have some brand new cards and a brand new season coming out today. As this video goes live, we do have the brand new Marvel Rivals collab here in December. And what we have on screen is actually going to be all of the spotlights in one picture. We'll go week by week as we break it down. How are you feeling about Marvel Snap having a collaboration with Rivals overall, though?
I mean, I like that. It seems like there's like a bunch of different collabs with Marvel Rivals. I think they announced they were doing everything with like, I think even Fortnite maybe even had like a collab that they said they were doing potentially. Yes. Like it looks like so much fun stuff is potentially happening there, and I think I'm very interested in those cards and all these like weeks. I think there's some really fun weeks and some obviously really fun cards. We'll break them all down because again, we really haven't talked about these cards for certain. Really, other than like kind of with our tier list last week, but in general, I think that these are going to be some really fun caches, and I think what they're doing this week or this time with all of these is they're definitely going for like the cards that look to be the most fun or the cards look to be the best. They are definitely doing thing which again people don't love, but it's what I think Second Dinner has continually done. They put them the most desirable cards potentially with some worse options in terms of the spotlight caches. Like I think the fact that Luna Snow is a really good card, but also X-23 and Lady Deathstrike are both Series 4. Or like X-23 is about to be Series 4. I think as soon as she leaves caches, technically. But both of those cards are both going to be Series 4 with Luna Snow being really sick. That's going to be... Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like really interesting. Like I think the Luna Snow week is one of the better weeks. I think the first two are pretty decent, even though they're like Series 4 cards. Like the Series 4 cards in there are actually solid. I think the latter 2 weeks have some good value too, potentially, if some of these cards are returning to spotlights. I definitely think that Doom week, they're putting prospectively how good Doom 2099 is, and they're putting two very middling cards in. You know, we talked about Meek already got power crept by Scorn, and Scorn's just better. And then Dakin is just, I don't even know why this is still a Series 4 card. It should literally just be Series 3. Yeah. So that's just a feels bad. But I do think like the Penny Parker week is a solid week. If you don't have Gladiator and if you don't have Sasquatch, those are some good cards to at least just have in your collection. Gladiator's actually meta relevant at the moment. Sasquatch, if you're playing Thanos, you just get some really good value with Sasquatch there. Or even if you're playing the old Mockingbird Mysterio deck, that still can get you some really cool Sasquatch value with all the Scar stuff. But I think these weeks are going to be... Some of them are good. Some of them are like, what are we doing? And it's like card acquisition is still so bad as it is. And then we're just putting bad cards into the caches. Why are people going to open them if they're just going to get bad cards? Yeah,
I don't know. It's going to be the card acquisition's the whole thing. Hopefully, I don't think so. But again, we have I think it's a version of Character Masteries potentially coming out in the patch next week. We don't have I think they said it was like hopeful they would have a version of that hopefully by the end of the year. And so we've attributed that to be the patch, but I don't think we have an official confirmation on that as of yet. But in general, we can hope for that bit, and that's what I'm obviously hoping for as well. I will say I mentioned it previously that I really think that the High Evolutionary Bruce Banner Ravonna Renslayer, the one that's coming out during Christmas week, I think that is going to be one of the best weeks for a lot of the newer players to grab. Because again, High Evolutionary just works stuff, and I've been playing it recently. You can do good stuff with just High Evolutionary, and then Ravonna does so much with a lot of your on reveal style decks that people will be running with your Ironheart, your White Tigers, and such. It again just eat a lot of those. That feels like the best week that I'm going to probably be recommending to others. I think I'm recommending probably the Luna Snow week, or personally the Bruce Banner week. I think those are the weeks that really jump out to me as like really good. Potentially the Blob week, right? I don't know. We don't typically rank these, but I'm going to do it anyway. I think it's for myself. I think I recommend the Bruce Banner one first, assuming you don't have High Evolutionary Ravonna. That's what all these are assuming. You were missing the other 2 cards in these. Obviously, you're missing the brand new card. But I'd say probably the Bruce Banner week. You then go the Luna Snow week. I think then I probably still recommend the Rocket week. Because again, if Blob is really good, even though Selene isn't great, Blob is a really good card to mess with. And then Sasquatch into Doom. Even though Doom is one of my favorite cards coming out next month, I think that's... I don't know. How do you rank these for yourself personally? Or like recommending to others?
I think just overall, not just like new player kind of mindset, I think I would go Penny Parker week, Luna Snow week, Bruce week, Rocket week, Doom week, just on overall value. Like Selene might be honestly worse than Dakin for spotlights.
I would agree with that, but I think Blob outweighs both Meek and Dakin there, or Doc, whatever. Yeah, I think.
But you have to have Airshim. I feel like for Blob, you're not really playing Blob. You can play Blob and Thanos, but like. I'd rather play like Goliath than play Blob and Thanos.
I'm liking Gora, honestly, in Thanos now, yeah. Like, I feel like those are typically places that you would like to see that stuff. But I think in general, where did the Bruce one rank for you? Was that number 2 or number 3?
Bruce was 3.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. That's top one. But again, I think we're at somewhat different aspects. I don't know. What are y'all going for first? Which one's the one that you guys are most excited for? Is there one week that you're missing all the cards, or just... A lot of these are going to, I think every single week this month is going to have at least one Series 4 card in Spotlight Cache. So let us know how you're feeling about that even. I think that just sucks a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
It's the worst.
Yeah, a lot of it. I really do like all the other cards coming out this... Like, I think if you try to put a bunch of Series 4 cards in, I'd say let's go last month's stuff, or maybe even this month's stuff. I think you could do it, but I think all the brand new cards that are coming out in this month can more than hold their place for every single, like, just as the number 1 card. If I get this card, if I get the new card, I don't really care as much about the Series 4 cards. And I think the ones that you feel that the least are the ones that you have a lot better extra cards in. With Rocket, I think, and Penny are probably those. So, I don't know. That's personally what I'm going for. But again, I will say, I really love the fact that he did put High Evolutionary in the same one as Bruce. The stuff that works together is going to have that combination together.
Yep.
That's one thing, I really enjoy. Also, I will say, I really enjoy it because it's Christmas week. And speaking of Christmas week, I haven't talked about it yet, and I will now. I really do. I'm wearing my Nightmare Before Christmas other Christmas sweater today. And I absolutely love this one.
I love that.
I just had to show this off.
Great movie.
It's a great movie. It's so good. Tim Burton just is awesome. Anyway, I like that, as well as I'll say with the albums, because we do have that here. Again, I'm going to keep pushing for the albums. It sucks that one of them obviously is going to be a bunch of the brand new cards. And then the other one is all 1200 gold variants. So I don't...
But it's only 8 cards, I think, for the Nullified album, whereas the Doctor Doom... for the Rivals one is all 1200 gold super rares, and it's 12 of them.
That's true. Yeah. So, I mean, that bit is definitely better. Still just, again, it feels like maybe this month, again, they had the Thanksgiving, the food, the Even Heroes Get Hungry one, which, again, was meant to be for more just casual players. And whereas, again, they're doing some more of the whale hunting albums, and I'm not, unfortunately, surprised about that.
Yeah, they gotta milk the game right now because everyone's leaving. But that's a side note. I'm really upset about in this whole entire situation is that it is Dokken in spotlights with Doom and Meek when it was originally Datamine, which of course Datamines aren't always true, but it was a Hit Monkey variant. And a Hit Monkey would have been a way better card, even though it is Series 4, to have in these spotlights this month, because some people just don't have that card and it would actually get value instead of Dokken, which is another card that is going to be in the Season Pass in January. What is happening? Like,
I would be surprised with Dokken in the December 17th Spotlight Cache. I have to believe that the data mines are incorrect, and we will be seeing a different card in the Dokken slot in that season. If it isn't, I will be shocked. I will be. That would. There's already a big L about second dinners with the series drop.
Yep.
We kind of talked on that last week, and it's just. We spent literally an hour and a half talking about all the Series 4 and 5 cards last week.
Yep.
That's just so many. It's too many. Too much time. And hopefully they mess with that. That's, I don't know. I'm keep on dipping my toes into that subject, but I have to assume, and I have to hope, because again, I'm very much a blind hope individual, that they would not. I don't want to say screw the player base over, but I will screw the player base over by putting Dakken inside of those spotlight caches then, and then immediately the next month you can just get him for, I don't know, $9 or $10 US. That would be a big miss, in my opinion. One of the largest misses I think they could have done.
No, thank you. But let's actually talk about some of these December cards individually. So we're going to start breaking these down individually. Starting off, of course, we do have the brand new Season Pass card, which is going to be Galacta, which her text reads, each turn, the first card you play at another location reveals with +3 power. What are your thoughts on this card so far?
It took me way too long to actually realize that this card it wasn't like each other location. For some reason, I thought it was going to be similar to that. But this feels... So I saw some people comparing this to Elsa, and I don't think you can easily compare cards in Marvel Snap. They all do different things. But I don't know how much I love this more than Elsa, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I feel like this is still going to be a really good card. Like, no hate towards it. I think it's going to be good. I just don't know if I am that excited by this card anymore. I think it's still going to be a solid card. I'm just trying to think of like what card, like I feel like they're just better cards than this in a lot of the decks. Again, other than like Black Panther and Galactus, what else do you really want?
So what they showed really cool in the trailer is like, since it's before it reveals, or like it reveals with, this works with like a Brood. It works with like a Mr. Sinister, which is cool. So your Brood would have started with 5 power, so all the Broodlings get 5 power. I think ramping this card out early is probably one of your best things to do, so you can maximize that +3 onto other locations. It doesn't have the same condition as Elsa, where you have to fill the lane to get the +3. It just has to be a different location. But I think this is still going to be good with Kitty Pryde. I do think it'll be good, like you said, with, you know, the Black Panther, with a Sebastian Shaw. Like, I think you can do some maybe surfer things with this card, but I think in a perfect world, you're wanting to ramp it out. Even if you draw it late, you're really hoping you have some other cards to play with it, or it's just a 4/6. So I'm also not super high on this card. Realistically, I think there's definitely going to be some really cool clips that people hit with this card. Like, that's going to be cool. But I think overall, I think this card is just, it's okay. I want to see the interaction with Shuri. I believe it'll be just like Elsa. So, like, Shuri goes off and then the card gets the +3, opposed to the card getting the +3 and then getting Shuri'd. I believe Shuri overrides that. If it were the other way around, though, I wouldn't be mad to see, you know, that Shuri interaction, you get that +6 now because it's 3 doubled. But I don't hate this card at all. I think it's gonna be pretty usable in a bunch of different situations. It just maybe like I'd rather have a different card instead, kind of like Symbiote Spider-Man when Symbiote Spider-Man came out.
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna be similar, and I think I said it before, maybe not on the Yap, I don't know, but I've said in particular, I love the way that they specify it reveals with +3 power.
Yes.
And I hope that's something that they retroactively do to other cards. Because I think that's an issue that I've seen with some other stuff, where it's, again, Shuri technically doubles it before so it reveals with the extra power. Same thing with Elsa. So, but it's always like weird in the ordering of those, and I don't know if we're ever gonna really understand that bit completely. But I hope that is something that they do, where they will make the card, like they'll specify that little bit where it will reveal with the extra base power. Because that's something I think with Forge as well. I want to say, I don't know if there's a lot of other ones, but I think I want to say it's Forge, Elsa, and Shuri, and now Galacta that are it pretty much.
Yes, because other ones, they have to be on the board before they get like the buff and stuff. Like Nico, like the card has to have flipped over before it gets like the buff.
All the Guardians as well, yeah. So we'll have to see exactly how that works, but I really do. Guardians work, whatever. I do hope that they retroactively add this wording, because I think it's a very good bit of clarity. But yeah, I don't know. In general, I don't think I'm hating on this card. I just think I feel like a lot of people are going to be overhyping it, and obviously people are talking Galactus. But even with the Galactus, but then your Hobgoblin sucks if you do that, right? If you're talking about your curve, you go, or it's like Electro, Galacta, Galactus, and that's what you do there. I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like there's a lot of stuff in particular with this card that's like, yeah, it's good. And again, it's a 4. It goes to at least a 412 if you ramp it out earlier, 415. So I think it's going to be good. I'm also very prepared to be entirely wrong on this card, but I'm not excited by this card.
Yeah. You just play you play Ravonna, so you can play Hobgoblin on 4, and then you've already played Kate Bishop as well too. So on turn 5, you can play the Acid Arrow and then Galacta, and then you play Galactus then onto the lane that has the Acid Arrow and the Hobgoblin, and you just profit, right? And you hit that every single game. Your curve is just absolutely perfect every single time.
Yeah, just like Gore and Mr. Negative. It's just as good. It's just as good. Maybe it does some good stuff with Galactus. I don't know. But I think there are so many other cards this season that I'm so much more excited about, especially our next one.
We got good old Luna Snow. What does Luna Snow do, Dance?
So Luna Snow just adds an ice cube to each side of this location. That's not the wrapper, even though she has a 3/5 stat line. It is a 1/0 card, so a 1-cost card that can get hit by Killmonger, potentially Elektra, that says at the start of each turn, get +1 energy, then destroy this if your side is full here. And so that's for your opponent and for yourself. So kind of a clog card. This just feels like a really interesting idea, and I'm excited to mess with this. It feels like Red Guardian is going to love this card, I think. I feel like you're going to really want that.
Red Guardian, Elektra, Killmonger, like you said. But I think what is very interesting to note is that even if you do fill your side of the board or your opponent's side of the board, at the start of the next turn, you still get the +1 energy, and then the Ice Cube destroys. So that's very interesting to note. So like with the Red Guardian stuff, you're shutting it down because it more often than not is going to be the only card in that lane with 0 power, or it's going to have the lowest power in that lane. So it's a great target for Red Guardian. It's a great target for Elektra to get Elektra value. I think this is going to be a great card in Surfer, not just because it's 3/5, but I'm thinking about ramping out Sarah on turn 4 is always just incredible. And then having the 3 techs, maybe then you're playing a Killmonger, and then you're playing a Red Guardian, depending. But I feel like this is going to be a very interesting card. I think of course, you are giving your opponent an advantage as well as them getting the same, I guess maybe not an advantage, but they're also getting the ramp just like you. So you have to keep in mind that some decks are just going to be doing well, but they're like, you still have to prepare for it. Like if your opponent can't maximize having that extra energy, that's still a plus for you. So like you can still, have that going on, but I don't know. I think 3/5 stats is really good. At the end of the game, this is kind of bad, but like even if at the end of the game you can get a clog to go off, like maybe you offset some other stuff your opponent's trying to do. You have this as an on reveal. This stops at Galactus because Galactus isn't the only card by himself. But it's gonna be interesting just to see what people build this card. It's not like my highest card on the season, but I do think this card is getting a little bit overshadowed by some of the other stuff.
Yeah. And by the way, I will say, because Tucker does have buy or bust now. If y'all aren't watching those, you should be, because he has broken down this card. And a couple cards that you didn't mention, if I'm not mistaken. So forgive me if my memory is incorrect. But 2 cards I really like the idea of messing with here are Red Hulk. And I think it's just High Evolutionary in general.
I did not talk about those. So that's a good shout.
Yeah, because I really like the idea I think Red Hulk is a great combo card with this, because your opponent isn't prepared for the extra energy 9 times out of 10. And so if you can give them that energy, then you can use that for yourself. And then I kind of like the idea, and I'm hoping for an idea where there's a what is it? I would love to be able to do a high evolutionary deck that uses a bunch of Hulks. Give me Bruce, give me Hulk, give me She-Hulk, give me Scar, give me Red Hulk. Like, just hulking out for an entire deck feels like a really fun idea. And then Luna Snow as a way to ramp could potentially be really interesting there. And that's, if I'm talking about a place that I really want to start, that is one of the ones that I actually really want to mess with, because I think it's going to be different enough. And hopefully, again, your opponent, if you're playing against some of the decks, your opponent's not planning around that extra energy. And if you can run magic in your deck as well, which again, High Evolutionary, Red Hulk do like as well, you get to get an extra turn where you're benefiting off that energy. And if they still have that card on the board, maybe you've kept it around there with a, with what is it called? Maybe an armor or something like that. You're keeping that lane pretty empty.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting way to think about it too. Like, people put high Evo on the back burner for a minute, or like if you've been playing high Evo, it's more the Affliction high Evo opposed to like the Hulk, Shield kind of stuff. So I like that. This as the ramp too. I mean, you play this out on whatchamacallit. You play this out on 3. You play your stuff 4. You float turn 5 because you have extra energy. You can play She-Hulk and some other stuff on 6. So
yeah, no, this just feels like one of the most exciting cards to me, because like I said, I've been playing High Evolutionary, and I'm looking at this card and obviously Bruce Banner, which we'll talk about in a bit. And I think that this is a sleeper High Evolutionary card. I think that people aren't thinking of it yet, and once it like actually breaks into stuff, I think we're going to be seeing some wild ideas potentially, and I love this.
Yeah, I'm very pumped. Which also brings us to this right here. I'm already saying it before we even have talked about it. This is my favorite card of the season.
Okay.
It is Penny Parker, which is an on reveal, add SPDR, Spider, to your hand. When this merges, you get +1 energy next turn. So there's a couple different things we kind of got to dissect here, okay? So this adds SPDR to your hand, which is an on reveal merge with one of your cards here. You can move that card next turn, okay? And then you do have Penny's text as well, is when this merges, you get +1 energy next turn. So it's pertaining to, like, just whenever anything merges with Penny Parker, herself, you get +1 energy next turn. So, yes, if the Spider merges with Penny, you'd get the +1 energy next turn. If Agony merges with Penny, you get +1 energy next turn. If Hulkbuster merges with Penny, you get +1 energy next turn. If Chimichanga merges with Penny, you get +1 energy next turn. If Symbiote Spider-Man merges with Penny Parker, you also get the max energy of the next turn. So it's another ramp card. We have back-to-back ramp cards, but this one I like a little bit more. Even though you are spending more energy to get the extra function here with the SPDR, you're able to move the card that this merges with on the next turn, which is pretty cool, having that movement mechanic, which we'll talk about with another card later, which I think adds the extra layer of value.
Yeah, no, I think this is going to be a really cool card. And then I remember, I think we talked this before, where we were questioning how Symbiote Spider-Man was going to work with it. And they confirmed in the dev video that Symbiote Spider-Man does work. And part of the reason for that is he takes the text of her, Penny Parker. And then once his ability is done, the combining, he now has merged with the card, thusly you get the +1 energy. So he's a really fun one. And you didn't mention, I think, as well, but Phoenix Force is another really fun idea with this. I've already been playing, what is it? I've seen a list, I think I talked to you about, where you're doing a bunch of different merging things, and you're trying a bunch of that stuff together. And I think that Penny Parker is going to be absolutely just a blast with that idea of the deck. I think there's going to be so much fun stuff you can hopefully do there. And I don't know, in general, Penny is going to be Penny's a card that I'm excited about as well, because of all the potential you can do there. I don't know if it's one of my favorites in the same way that you're saying it, but as well, I think it's just it's so different, so interesting, and I love I've said it before. I think even when Hydro Ball came out, I loved the idea that it reacted to just snapping, something that we hadn't seen in the game before. And now we have Penny Parker reacting to merging, which again we haven't seen in the game before, and that is really cool to me. So I love that stuff, and I feel like both of these are going to be incredibly interesting. And again, it's ramping. Ramping is sick.
Yeah, I think it's just really cool. It's like 2 different style of cards. This isn't like something we already have pre-established in the game, which I think is what really just adds the extra layer. Which this next card coming out is another crazy card that is also multi-layered. And that is going to be Doom 2099, Dance. What does Doom 2099 do?
I mean, so you spoiled it as well. I'll spoil it. This is the one I'm going to say, I'll say this before I even say this ability. This is the card I am most excited for, and I'm willing to bet I will be extremely bored of before the week is over. I'm calling it now. I am so stoked by this card. I am absolutely stoked by this card, but I'm also willing to bet that this card is, I'm just going to be bored by it because it feels very limiting in what you're going to do with it. But I'll talk about that in a second because I should read its ability first. Dr. Doom 2099, or not Doctor, it's just Doom 2099. After each turn, you add a Doombot 2099 to a random location if you have played exactly one card. Similar to Athena, where it plays 2 cards, but this card only plays 1. But the Doombot 2099 is the really fun stuff here, where it's, again, it has a 4/2 stat line as well. But it says, ongoing, your other Doombots and Doom have +1 power. And again, in the dev video, they confirmed that is any basically card that has the word Doom in it. So that's Dr. Doom, the Doombots for him, as well as this card and that card's Doombot. So it basically, again, it's similar to what I like about the Sam Wilson, where it makes a character kind of its own archetype and something interesting. And I really like that stuff here as well. But why I'm saying early on that I think I'm going to get very bored of this, it reminds me of when people were playing the Sandman Patriot stuff. And I just got really bored against that style of deck and even playing style of deck because it felt like your later turns weren't, you didn't have a lot of options. There wasn't a lot of flow. You're playing 3 cards and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
And again, this feels very similar to that for me. So I'm hoping I'm not, but I'm willing to expect myself to kind of just be bored by this card. But again, that's not even saying that I hate it. I think it's really a cool card. I just am not stoked by the idea of this card in general. Or no, I'm stoked by the idea of the card. I just think I'm gonna get bored of it. If that makes, I don't know.
No, I think this.
Does that track?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying because it's kind of like, I say vanilla, but I say vanilla very loosely. I'd say it does something very particular, and you have to meet certain criteria for the stuff to happen, but it's nothing crazy flashy. But the ability still is really cool. It's like Dr. Doom for a while just got power crept by Ultron because Ultron just worked better in these Patriot lists. So this is a card that works well. Also works with Zabu, and you can ramp it out with Psylocke and stuff to get extra value, which I really like that because like it's another card that, like I said, it's layered. Like you said, it works with Dr. Doom, which is really cool to see that in action. There's 2 cards that like synergize that way because, they're iterations of each other, whereas like Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2099 don't synergize with each other really like at all. So it's really cool to see this actually, work the way it does, and I think it is going to be a lot of Patriot. Patriot bots won't affect the Doom bots, of course, because the Doom bots have an ability, but it would go with the Dr. Doom stuff. You could also bring back Iron Lad again. Iron Lad would give you the same text as Doom. It wouldn't probably get the same buff as Doom because Iron Lad in the game's coding would be different, but it would still give you all the different Doombot options. And let's say you do ramp that out and you get another Doom 2099 with the Iron Lad, and then you play a Dr. Doom. You just got all sorts of craziness going on there. It'll be a very exciting card just to see Doom getting the love everywhere. But I don't know. I do think it's cool.
Yeah, no, again, it's the hate I'm giving is only because it doesn't feel like a deep card that you can do a lot of different things with. Yeah. Which is part of the reason why I have more excitement over, I'd say, Penny and Luna Snow there, because there's a lot of nuance. But again, that's no hate towards this card. This card's going to be sick. It's going to be awesome. Because also, it just makes, imagine you play, I think it's just going to be very simple, akin to, you go for your, let's imagine you can't ramp it out, Doom 2099. You then play, I think it's either Wong or Sandman. Yeah. You play, I think it's going to be one of those 2 that are really going to combo well with this card. And then you go for your Dr. Doom. It's going to be a lot of value. At your Doom, imagine if you just get those 3 turns. At your Doom and the main Doom bots, the 6-cost ones, are all going to have 8 power on each. That's 24 power across the entire board just there. Not counting a Wong, not counting anything else. It's incredibly, incredibly cool. It's going to be awesome. And again, it does the thing I said already. I love the fact that they are realizing, second-generers realizing that these cards, these cool characters that people recognize with Dr. Doom, with Captain America, all these cards, they're realizing, hey, we kind of want them to be playable late game. We want others to see the later game of this. And honestly, I wonder if this might help with the acquisition stuff. I doubt it, but Copium, where you maybe have more playable decks that have more basic cards because of cards like Doombot 2099 or just Doom 2099.
Yeah.
And stuff like Sam Wilson. So in general, I love this. I'm excited. I just think my excitement's going to be short-lived, but I'm going into it knowing that. And so if I find more depth here, if there's more stuff that I don't know about that isn't thought of, I'm going to be extremely pleasantly surprised with this card.
Yeah, you just put Onslaught on a bunch of Doombots in one lane, and then you just give the buffs to everything else too.
Yeah, true. You because again, it is a different lane, right? So Doom does it in another lane. So if you fill up one lane, you know where the other Doombots are going to go. So you could just try to like make one lane that's crazy. Like that's an actual strategy you could try to go for.
Yeah.
It could be what? You go, let's say Mr. Sinister, Patriot, and then you've done Zabu all in one lane right there. Doom in another, and then, or Doom 2099 another. You then play Doom. You then go, what do you do next for your 4 cost? Would it be, or your turn 5? I think it's probably still like Sandman middle.
Sandman or Blarvel?
Maybe. Blarvel, but then it doesn't, you're fighting for the ongoing that you maybe want with the Doombots. I don't know. Maybe it's still that. I don't have a good answer there.
Or Iron
And then you go,
know.
true, yeah, there's just a lot of options. And then again, you go for the Onslaught. The Onslaught's actually a really cool shout that I didn't think about. So, I don't know. There's a lot of really fun stuff, potentially. I'm hoping there's depth that I don't see and people will figure out. But, yeah, it's going to be a really fun time.
And then our next card is another card I think you might enjoy. Since you're tapping into some of the high Evo stuff, we got Bruce Banner, which is going to be when you end a turn with unspent energy, there's a 25% chance to Hulk out. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I play in Danger Room, it is almost a 75 to 95% chance that my cards die. So this is 25% each turn you end with unspent energy. So it's not just can only happen one time. There's a bunch of different interactions, probably post turn 2, where you can have this potentially happen.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun card. And again, one of the reasons why why I was talking about the Spotlight Week is because this card even synergizes with Ravonna. Because it's a one power card. It looks cool. And we've seen, based off of the official video, this just turns into the normal Hulk that we know and love. So it's a 12 power card, and I would assume it's a 6 power card as well. Or 6 cost card, I'm assuming at that point. We don't have confirmation there, technically. Maybe it doesn't work with Kyera. Maybe it does. Maybe it still counts at 2 cost. But I would get, again, based off of the way it seems to be the original Hulk, I'm going to say it's a 6 cost card.
It should count with Kyera, because I'm thinking, from the way it appeared on screen, it looked like 6/12 dropping down. So, if you had Kyera on the board and, you Cersei a 5 cost card, Kyera would work with the 6 cost.
Yeah.
So it should.
So, as long as it works with that stuff, I'm stoked with this card. Like you said earlier, I've been dipping my toe into some high Evo. I may or may not have seen some cool Hulk images recently that I've already pre-grabbed for some thumbnails on Tucker's channel. Keep an eye out. But yeah, this card just looks sick. And it goes into the stuff that I've talked about before, where they're trying to take the characters that we know. I'm expecting at this point a Tony Stark soon.
Yeah.
I think that's a realistic expectation that we should be expecting. I know Tony Stark is Iron Man, but I think that's going to be something else that we're also going to be interested in wanting to see some stuff with, because that looks to be probably all this stuff, the depth into these characters that we don't really have extra stuff for. There's so much depth you can go into here. It's going to be insane. I love I like this card. Like I said, High Evolutionary is going to be a great place for it. There's a reason. This is, again, why I like the Spotlight Week. The 2 cards that are there in said week fit with it so cleanly. And this is, it just seems like a great card. I don't see how this is bad.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of potential with it. I mean, on the worst side of this is a 2/1 on the board and it doesn't turn into the Hulk, and you've spent all your energy that game, which means you just had a really incredible curve. So good for you. You probably had other ways to win the game. But I think, this card's got potential. I think even though it says 25% chance, I feel like the odds there, we play for 50/50s. So you're just decreasing your chances by a little bit more there, right? But I think this card's got a lot of potential. I'm excited to see how it actually shapes up. And I think what I really like is that people are just going to hit some crazy clips and this is going to be a red guardian target. There's going to be a lot of times people forget about this lane. They're like, oh, they're going to spend all their energy anyways, so we don't have to worry about this. And then Hulk's going to come out of nowhere and just win the game. So yeah, I think this is going to be fun.
This is also what I love because, again, why I talk about High Evolutionary, you've got Sunspot on the board. You've got what is it? Your She-Hulk and your like evolved Hulk in your hand. You've got Cyclops on the board. You also have your Misty Knight, and so every like that unspent energy, it just gives you more and more value with it. Which is something that I'm going to like. You're gonna love that. Like no matter what you're doing with those cards, you're getting more and more value with every single one of those abilities, and it just it gives you more reason. Because I feel like a lot of times with High Evolutionary, you're kind of like, well, I'm just gonna drop a 6/12. But now you're like, this is giving me more and more reason to really lean into the unspent energy aspect of this. And like I think I said it, Magic is a card you want to run with this. You want more turns, more opportunities to get Bruce Banner. So I cannot wait to run a Bruce Banner, High Evolutionary, Luna Snow, Red Hulk deck. That's where I'm going.
Okay, I like it.
That feels... I see the lines. The lines exist in my head. Whether or not they're legitimate, I see them. They're out there, Tucker. I swear.
All right. No, I believe you. I believe you. And then, so I think this card's going to be fun. I think this next card, honestly, is going to be way more fun than we maybe think about. And that's going to be Rocket and Groot. I think this card actually does have a variety of potential. It's our first combo card. We have with 2 different characters on one card with Rocket and Groot. Being on one card, and the ability is you can move this once. After your opponent plays a card here, steal 1 power from it. Which is, it's 1 power, but like, this is going to a 3/4. The transaction's a 3/5. Could be pretty cheeky.
No, this is going to be great. I think this is going to be a sick card. I love it. This just feels, especially with the ability of moving it once, this feels like an amazing Claw card. This is going to be really interesting. And honestly, does Jean Grey finally get played? Maybe major copium for that. But like, there's Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot are going to be a really sick card. Again, I love the movement stuff. Stealing. This is probably going to go really well into the Scream style deck that we were talking about earlier. I wonder if you even go with the Ajax in that, because you have even more opportunities to move stuff there. But yeah, I don't see a world where this is bad. Like this card is gonna be great. I don't know what to do with this. Like I've said Jean Grey. I don't think the Jean Grey is probably gonna be the right answer when the time comes. But
you could do Surfer. I mean, you're just throwing it in Surfer, and it kind of is like a Nocturne in a way, but you're not changing the location.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Surfer's a really good shout too. I like that. Are there any other cards that are really going to be good for Surfer? You mentioned Luna Snow. I was walking back. Is that like, I don't think any of the other cards that we've talked about so far maybe again Galacta. I don't really feel like, other than that, maybe
Galactic could be good for like Brood stuff if you want to have that instead of a Gwenpool, because it's more targeted where the +3 is going to go. But it'd be really interesting to see if you would swap out Gwenpool for Galacta. I probably wouldn't, because the unknown factor is just so good in Surfer.
I feel like, yeah, Luna Snow, again, going back, but like Luna Snow, then going Sarah, and then maybe even going like Gwenpool Absorbing Man feels better than just dropping a Gwenpool down.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what my thought process is with Luna Snow and stuff. But yeah, I don't think there's any other like deliberate, this is going in Surfer. Besides, it's just a 3-cost. We're going to put any 3-costs in Surfer. But I think Surfer's getting to a point now where it's like you want to have as much tech in there as possible, too, to kind of just maintain the balance of being able to fight for other lanes and everything, too, because of how power-heavy the meta is right now. You need some sort of just thing to offset that.
Yeah. And honestly, with me talking like High Evolutionary stuff, is this something that you really want to see like evolved, Abomination? Because again, that's each card playing there. That really just takes away from each card once, which means there's going to be multiple cards afflicted. This is a good anti-bounce card if we're talking about things it works against, right? Your opponent hates bouncing anything at this lane, because now all those are going to be stolen from, like, multiple times. That's not going to be fun. So
is it a multiple times it steals 1 power, or is it just one time it steals 1 power?
Well, so each time a card is played there, right? So similar to the way Angela would get the +1 power each time a card is played to her lane, or Bishop gets +1 power when a card is just played in general.
Okay.
Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot are gonna work the same thing. So whenever a card of your opponent's is played to their location, doesn't matter if it's the first time, second time, whatever, each time it's played there.
Okay. And then you can move
Kitty
it.
Pryde goes down. You can't use Kitty Pryde there.
Kitty Pryde just dies. Literally just.
Honestly, this is an interesting counter to Hope Summers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not talking like great things that are going to work well with it, but again, counters. This is a very. I wonder if it's just like a tech card, and I'm excited by that.
Yeah, this thing's got a lot of potential. And then we do have one more card. One more card.
Comes out before this one.
Yes, it comes out, I think, a couple days before it. Maybe it comes out on like
so actually, I have the stats right here for it. So the next card we're going to be talking about here is Lasher. Lasher going to be coming out in High Voltage, which is returning this season. High Voltage will be returning on December 28th and going until January 4th. So I think it's just 5 days, something like that. It's just giving you a little something to do.
Really?
Oh, was it? If I'm not, no, that's a 1 week. It's 1 week. I'm so sorry.
I was like 5 days. Oh my gosh.
No, sorry. They showed 5 days inside of the video, and that's what I thought because I can't count. But that is going to be a full week, which is. Did you see Glenn's comment? I feel like people misrepresented Glenn's comment on High Voltage before really diving into Lasher, but I feel like
I didn't read it entirely, but I saw it.
Yeah, there was something where he was saying that, where people were saying that he said there's a whole he said she said thing where they took a piece of what he said out of context, where he was like. The gameplay was fun, but he thinks it went too far in terms of making winning irrelevant. And what is it? And I think all that he was trying to say. I just saw a negative thing on that, so I just wanted to say that here, where he responded to that bit where he said he doesn't think the High Voltage missed the mark, which is I'm glad that we're seeing it return. It's a great game mode, and Second Dinner and him love how it was received. What is it? They just wanted the winning to matter more because it definitely. I don't think that the winning did matter as much. I think you were just like, oh well, I've lost, and you just kind of didn't care about that. And I like that aspect a bit, but still making the winning matter.
Yeah. And
still feeling more excitement over the fact that you do win, I think is a fair differential there. So, there's an actual thing there. If you're not in the Snap Discord, you should be. It's broken down in the team answer section.
Yeah, that's really good to note. Like going overall, like what they're thinking about the game modes, and they are listening to feedback. They have their own feedback as well. I'm really interested to see what their feedback is of this most iteration of Diner. But this card is cool. You know, you get a Series 4 card. Yes. But as long as you play through all of High Voltage, and if it is the same way it was last time, you just complete your missions every single day, and you can just get this card out. And it was very fun to play High Voltage because it felt completely different than Ladder, felt completely different than Diner, because you were playing completely different, super, super greedy decks in order to just literally go above and beyond. But this card is I kind of thought of like Nomura at first when I thought of this card. Getting this card to a 2/7 and then activating it only afflicts a singular target, but afflicting a singular target with 2 or more negative power is really crazy. And of course, you do have to set this up before you activate it because you can't do it on the same turn. But I think this is going to be a very interesting card. I think compared to some of these other cards, I think this has more value than Agony. I think it's probably more King Eitri level. I don't think it's Cassandra Nova level, because Cassandra Nova just is her. Like she's that thing. But I think this is going to be very interesting to see what people, build for this. Especially, I really enjoyed playing High Voltage, so I'll be excited to play that again.
No, I'm definitely excited about that as well. And I think we mentioned it earlier where I think that we kind of just got burnt by Deadpool Center. Just it felt very, very grindy.
Yes.
And High Voltage definitely does not feel that same way. So I'm excited about that. And I'm okay. I don't think it needs to be busted. I'm hoping it feels playable. I think King Eitri's playable, and I like that. And I'm hoping Lasher is a similar bit. And I think, like we've talked about a couple of times, this is a merging of different mechanics where it's affliction, but you also want to buff the card up itself.
Yes.
So that's it. That's just already like a direct counter. If you think about it, you want to buff like what deck really wants to buff itself and also hurt the opponent. And so this could be a really fun card for that. Maybe there aren't enough pieces yet, and maybe we want Diamondback, like we talked about earlier, or other cards similar before this really is able to pop off. But it also goes into why Luke Cage potentially should get nerfed. But that's a topic probably for next week. But legit, I think this would be a really fun card. What was it? And 2-cost activate, I feel like is the sweet spot. We haven't seen a 3-cost yet. But I wonder if 3-cost feels better. But I think 2-cost is one of my personally favorite feeling places, I think, of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love Black Swan, so I'm totally here for that. And then to finish off what we got going on for December, we got 2 locations that are very interesting to talk about. We have good old Spider Island. After you play a card here, move it, kind of similar to is it Madam or Aunt May's? That's what it is. Aunt May's, but you're not getting the extra power this time.
And it happens every single time.
Oh, and it happens every single turn. So move list.
Or like, yeah.
Phoenix
Whenever
Force.
you play a card there, not the first one. At least the way that they said it.
Yeah, that's true.
This is going to be really good for move. Incredibly.
Yep. With Madam Web as well. You know, the new Madam Web Ultimate comes out.
True. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. And then we have the next one, which is kind of just it counters an archetype, which I don't think we've seen a location that counters discard.
Yep.
One of the things that we can note with this is one that I saw people already not liking as a location, because it's not just like for one turn. This is just cards can't be discarded. And that doesn't mean the cards get added back to your hand after they get discarded. If you have a Soulstone on the board and your opponent tries to like Moon Knight you, nothing happens. Just no cards are discarded. Straight up. So this is, I mean, just the first actual like counter to discard in a location, because I feel like a lot of other ones have just benefited it.
Yes.
And it's probably going to counter it in a similar way that we have like Sandbar counters Airsham.
Yep.
And Thanos and stuff, right? So it maybe just means that your discard list, maybe you now have to start running some location tech in there. And I don't mind that.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, you're not just playing, I just have discard. I can kind of just win whenever. I actually now have to play around getting this location and stuff.
Which it's rare. So again, I don't know all the, is it ultra rare or is it just regular, bless you? Is it just regular rare?
This is just regular rare. Both these locations are rares.
Okay, yeah. And so, for what it's worth, that's the same rarity as locations like Brooklyn Bridge, Castle Zemo, Quantum Tunnel, Bar with No Name. So a lot of locations that you feel like maybe really warp the game for yourself. They are also going to warp it similarly with Tokyo 2099. So that's another interesting one that I don't know how much I'm really excited for, but I don't mind it. If it doesn't feel like it's a whole lot, I feel like the first day this comes out, it just means that no one's playing discard on ladder for about 24 hours, which just goes into why hot locations suck. But in general, I think this card is just, or this location, it's just going to be a different way that we can be looking at discard. And yes, it's a counter of a location, but I don't know if that's the worst.
No, I think it's a warranted change. I mean, like you get Wakanda, you know, you can't play your destroy cards there. I mean, this is different because it's a global effect opposed to just like a singular lane. But I think, like you said, more accurately, like with Sandbar, I feel like that just is a really good just like feature to have, and like just don't play discard. This is a situation where like you just retreat for
during
one
that time.
Yeah, don't play discard during that time because you just won't get any value.
Or if you're a discard fanatic and you refuse to play anything else, it's time to break into some Conquest.
Yep.
Which I know you've been playing a little bit of this season as well, but it's been in general, I feel like this location, I'm not going to mind it when it gets added to the pool.
Yep.
I don't even think I'm going to mind it on the hot location day. Much more so, I think I'm going to mind I will be probably more annoyed with Spider Island.
Yes.
In general, it's a location that I already saw like people not excited about and hate around that location because it counters the entire archetype. But I thought it was at least one that was probably worth a discussion.
Yeah, no, I'm glad we talked about it. But that is going to be the wrap up for what we got going on in December, the Datamines and our season in review. What do you have your ranking for the new cards coming out though?
That's so okay. I mean, so Doom 2099, it's top of my list. Okay. Again, I'm willing to accept it's probably not going to stay there. This is looking back at it, right? We already talked about how our rankings have changed for the Surtur season, the November season. I'm very willing to accept that probably Doom's going to move way down in that list after a bit of time. But I think Doom 2099 is one of my first ones. I think I then go Bruce Banner.
Okay.
I think Bruce Banner is my next one. Then talking probably, I think it's Luna Snow, I want to say.
Okay.
Luna Snow. Then, is it Galacta Rocket and Groot? Galacta Rocket and Groot. Then you have Penny.
And
Penny's
Lasher.
there. Penny's number 4 and Lasher. I think it's Penny Parker, Galacta. Is Galacta more than Rocket and Groot? No, I think it's Rocket and Groot, Galacta, and Lasher. And again, I'm not even going to say that those cards are, like, that's going to be their strength level.
Yeah.
That's my own personal excitement for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think is and I'm willing to potentially be entirely wrong. The one I'm most expecting to be wrong about, potentially, is actually Rocket and Groot, because I just don't understand it enough currently. Yeah. And I feel like once I get my hands on it, that's going to be something different. I don't know. How's it for you?
I think it's still Penny Parker #1. It'll be... I think I go Rocket and Groot #2, Galacta 3, Doom 4, Bruce 5, Lasher 6.
What about Luna Snow?
Luna put before Bruce Banner.
So Penny, Rocket, Galacta, Doom,
Luna
next?
Luna, Bruce, Lasher. Yeah, I forgot we have 6 cards coming out.
Yeah, 7.
7. See, my math's even wrong there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Lasher is one we're both least excited about, but I don't even know if it's a thing against Lasher. I just think it's just like... And I don't think I'm not excited about any of these cards coming up. I think just in general, it's just like, I feel like there's just so much area that's unknown in these. And also, I love the fact that we have very different lists. So, in general, straight up, are you excited about this season? I know there's a lot of rival stuff that is going to be happening, I think, later this week. Rivals officially launches. But are you excited about this coming season of Marvel Snap? Just straight up.
I am hopeful for this new season. I really think that there's a high chance that Rivals takes everything out of me, and then I really just want to play Rivals, the game itself, instead of Snap. But I'm really hoping that they've taken this month break to really listen to us, and that with the patch, I know, of course, that is a month in advance, so maybe we won't get as crazy changes there, but maybe with the OTA, we do get some really good state-of-life changes for the game itself, so that there are less people burning out, and maybe we bring some more people back. I'm just really hoping that our voices have been heard and we get some change, because I think that's what the game needs in order to be at a good spot with all of the competitors that are happening right now.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that. I think that I don't think we will personally hear anything, like a lot of stuff in terms of like the economy and things, until my guess is that is February and then a month, like February, January, and March. I think that's when we're going to be seeing a big change. I don't think they will be dropping a large card acquisition update in this, in the patch coming in a week. I think we're going to be seeing something big then. And I've already said I'm willing to be completely blindly hopeful. And I think I just straight up am. I'm very hopeful, and I'm excited, and I want the best, and I'm going to hope we get the best. And Marvel Snap has been the best card game I've played digitally, and just card game probably in general. It's the best one of those in general. And Marvel Rivals has been the best shooter I've played before. I'm not really a big shooter guy before, but I'm a sucker for an IP, and Rivals got me there. So I'm definitely excited about that as well. It's a combination of 2 games I'm already enjoying. Obviously, it's just more of the IP that I love. A lot of really exciting cards, a lot of really fun stuff. So I'm hoping it's going to be exciting, and I'm sitting here waiting with bated breath until we can find out for certain.
Yep, I think that's a great way to look at it. Do you have any final remarks for our homies listening?
What is it? If y'all are not already subscribed, if you're watching this on the YouTube, you've got to be subscribed to Tucker. YouTube.com/@Tucker. Also on Twitter and on Twitch. TUCCRR. Simple as that. You got to be subbed. Go drop him a sub right now. Drop a like. Comment what you love most about him, other than just his gorgeous looks, his great voice, his good deck building. Maybe it's all of the above. Maybe it's something else I didn't even mention. Maybe it's the way that you seem to melt into his deep brown eyes for extended periods of time whenever he says anything. I don't know. Let me know.
Please, guys, before you do any of that, please follow Dance on every single platform imaginable, whether that is Twitch, TikTok, Twitter. Yes, I did say TikTok. YouTube. Maybe he's on Blue Sky. I don't know. I'm not on Blue Sky yet. But it's going to be Not My Dance. Please follow this beautiful man on all those platforms. If you guys are melting in my eyes, you guys are freaking looking even more beautiful in his beautiful blue eyes. But thank you guys once again so much for watching. Like Dan said, comment down below what card you are the most excited for in this next season. Until the next time, next Yap, we're going to be talking about probably not Rivals as much as next time, but we're going to be talking about the new cards. We're going to be having some hopes for the OTA and patch, which should be both next week. And then we'll probably have Rivals talk a week after this next one. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Until the next one, God bless and laters.